The Three of Pentacles is about the importance of teamwork and collaboration, in addition to being proud of your skills. Stay tuned to learn how to interpret this card when it shows up at a reading. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we'll be learning the tarot deck one card at a time. Today's video is about the Three of Pentacles. This video will begin with a short description of the card. Next, I'll briefly explain what this card means when it appears in a reading. Then we'll talk about what each element symbolizes and what the card means when it shows up in both the upright and reversed position in a reading. I'll share some examples from my life so you can relate to the card in a real-world situation. And stay tuned until the end, and I'll give you several questions to help you connect with the card. I will be using the Rider-Waite Tarot in this video. You'll find the link to the deck below, as well as to the many books that I've used in my research. So let's get started. In the Three of Pentacles card, we see three people. There is a stonemason standing on his bench with a chisel in his left hand and a mallet in his right hand. He is working in front of a partially open door in a stone church. There is a large arch at the top of the card with two smaller arches beneath it. The stonemason is under the left arch, and the other two figures are under the right arch. Under the main arch, we see three pentacles with a symbol between them that is a cross surrounded by a circle. Below the three pentacles, we see a hibiscus flower carved within a triangle. The stonemason is wearing a gray tunic, yellow apron, blue tights, and gray shoes. Beside him is a monk with a shaved head who is wearing gray robes. The third person is a nobleman or woman holding the plans and wearing a hooded cloak that is orange with red squares. The walls and floor are gray. When this card appears in a reading, the meaning will depend on which person you resonate with. Do you feel like the craftsman whose work will adorn the cathedral? Do you relate to the monk who is responsible for the church and overseeing the work? Or do you feel like the benefactor who holds the plans and is paying for the work to be done? In general, this card is considered to be about the stonemason and means that you are gaining competence in your career and people are recognizing your skills. That planning and collaboration are the keys to success. That your efforts are creating a legacy. That your hard work is paying off. That you are nearing the end of a project. And finally, the Three of Pentacles can be about home improvement or getting your property ready to sell. Let's talk about the symbolism of this card. In the Three of Pentacles, we see three people. There is a stonemason standing on his bench with a chisel in his left hand and a mallet in his right hand. He is carving into stone, so his efforts will exist for a very long time. Despite the fact that he appears to be younger than the other two figures, he is shown standing above them and they are listening intently. This shows that he has earned their trust and respect. Regardless, this card seems to be a pure collaboration as the monk is listening carefully and the noble person is holding the plans. The stonemason is working in front of a partially open door, which signifies that his talent may open doors in the future. They are in a stone building that we assume to be a church. He has carved three pentacles to represent the Holy Trinity in Christianity, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. At the center of the three pentacles is the symbol for earth, which is a circle with a cross through it. We see a large arch at the top of the page and two smaller arches underneath it. In tarot, arches represent beginnings, opportunities, and finding something new on the other side. Compare this card to the Ace of Pentacles, where we can see that the arch leads us towards the mountains, so we know what we're in for. It is interesting that in this card, the area behind the arches is black, which signifies that the outcome is unknown. We see the stonemason under the left arch and the other two figures under the right arch. This demonstrates that their roles are quite balanced. Below the three pentacles, we see a hibiscus flower carved within a triangle. I'm going to quote Pam Richards, author of Understanding Tarot, about the significance of these carvings. Quote, "The carved inverted triangle symbolizes water and emotion. Within it is a 5-petaled hibiscus flower, facing upright like the pentacles. This shows the 5 limbs and head of the human body, and inside is another earth symbol. The hibiscus flower symbolizes beauty, delicate design, immortality, inspiration, and respect. So here everything is honored: the people, their skills, and whatever they each bring to the project. The water, flower, and earth show that the feelings are grounded, sensible, responsive, and calm, as the creative energy and unity of those involved are greater than any worries. Their drive and grounded passion aim to set dreams into reality. It is interesting that these are the only black pentacles in this suit. For instance, compare it to the 8 of Pentacles, where we see a craftsman sitting on a similar bench, but his pentacles are made of gold. The black color can mean 2 things. They may be a work in progress and will be gold when finished, or it may mean that the stonemason's talents are hidden or not completely appreciated. In this card, we see a lot of gray on the walls and floor, as well as in the stonemason's tunic and shoes and the monk's robes. Gray is about neutrality, so it looks like the 3 together are making very considered decisions without a lot of emotion. The stonemason is wearing a gray tunic, yellow apron, and blue tights. The yellow apron represents creativity. The blue tights can represent imagination and sensitivity. Beside him is a monk with a shaved head. This is the same haircut we saw in the Hierophant card, which is number 5. It is called a tonsure. Shaving this part of the head was supposed to signify openness towards God. The third person is a nobleman or woman holding the plans and wearing a hooded cloak that is orange with red squares. Orange is a color that blends the passion of red with the creativity of the sun. It represents harmony and shows that the 3 people are getting along well. When the 3 of Pentacles appears in an upright position, it is about teamwork and support. This card shows collaboration between the stonemason, who is doing the work, the monk who is in charge of the church, and the noble person who is likely paying for the upgrades. The beautiful carvings wouldn't be possible if any of these people were missing. It's about planning, preparation, and making careful use of resources. We see the noble person holding the plans, and both figures are presumably making sure that things are being done correctly. It is a card about finding fulfilling work and continuously improving your skills to become better. The 3 of Pentacles tells you not to hide your talents. The stonemason is standing on a bench and not bothered by having an audience. His work is also in a public place where it is displayed for everyone to see. It is a card about working hard and using your talents to create a legacy or make some kind of lasting contribution. It can represent that you are nearing the end of a project and your hard work is paying off. It is about doing the best right now because you don't know what is in your future. Remember that you can't see what opportunities exist when you walk through the archways into the next phase of your life. And finally, the 3 of Pentacles might literally be about home improvement or getting your property ready to sell. Here's an example of the upright 3 of Pentacles from my life, and it is about using my talents to create a legacy. My son will be 30 this year. Since he was born, I have sent my friends a photo Christmas card and letter describing what happened over the past year. And I saved copies of all of these letters and photographs. A couple of years ago, I had the photos and letters reprinted and created a keepsake book for both of my kids as well as one for myself. It was really cool to read through the letters and be reminded what had happened each year. Honestly, there was a lot I had forgotten. Recently, I also created a photo book for my mother, who is almost 90. My dad was always the dominant personality in my home, so we'd heard a lot of stories about his childhood and not many of my mom's. She'd written the text for her book and then sent me home with a huge box of photographs going back to the late 1800s. I scanned the photos and put it all together for her. Although she had photos of her parents and grandparents, their faces were the size of a postage stamp. So by scanning and cropping the photos, my mom was able to see the faces of her loved ones for the first time since the 1940s. We had the book professionally printed, and it was a great gift to her and also to her children and grandchildren. I was thrilled to help her with their legacy. When the Three of Pentacles appears in a reverse position, it means that you are experiencing a lack of teamwork. You might have team members who have inflated egos or are lazy, unfocused, unwilling to listen, or just plain incompetent. It might mean that your projects are poorly planned, poorly funded, or poorly executed, that you aren't improving your skills, that you are guilty of creating sloppy work, or you are required to fix someone else's sloppy work, that you are feeling burnt out or there is little progress on your projects, that your projects are overdue or nowhere near complete, that you are not taking enough credit for your work or other people are taking credit for your work. And finally, the Three of Pentacles reversed can represent a sinking foundation or a tradesperson who didn't finish a project. Here's an example of the reversed Three of Pentacles from my life, and it's about other people taking credit for my work. As I mentioned in previous videos, I spent many decades working as a writer. Much of my work was ghostwriting, which meant that people paid me to write something, such as their memoirs, and then didn't give me any credit for the work. This is a very common practice, and it never bothered me because I knew I was compensated for my time. However, I was reflecting on this when I was looking at the Three of Pentacles. It made me wonder how different my life would have been if my writing was front and center like the stonemason in the upright card, standing on a bench where people could admire his work, instead of me essentially working in secret and only having myself and my client know what we had created. It's interesting in ghostwriting because you are using the client's stories, and if you get their voice correct, they actually believe that they wrote the book and give you little credit for your contribution. Here are some questions to help you connect with the Three of Pentacles. Number 1, do you enjoy your work? Is there something you can do to make it more pleasurable? Number 2, do you work well with other people? Is there a way you could collaborate on a project that would improve the results for all concerned? Number 3, do you approach your projects in an organized fashion? Number 4, are you working hard enough? And number 5, do you need to further your education or master specific skills in order to be more successful? Number 6, do you finish projects that you start? If not, how can you motivate yourself to complete these unfinished projects? And finally, number 7, do people recognize your skills and talents? What could you do to become more noticed? So I hope this has helped you connect with the Three of Pentacles. Please join me for the next video, which is the Four of Pentacles.